from recess. So the first thing we want to look at is one-stop implementation, approval for the 2024 primary. And Dawn's given us a calendar with the requirements filled in for the dates. We're to determine the weekend times and sites.
That's correct.
Okay. So, is there any discussion? Anybody want to just take a minute and look at this, and if you have ideas?
Well, in the past, we have usually done on Saturday 10 to 4.
Let's see. Okay, in 22, we did a 10 to 4. This second Saturday. That's correct. In 2020, we did a 10 to 5, which that was a presidential primary. Was 10 to 5.
Okay. And this will be a presidential
This
primary?
is a presidential primary. Yes, sir.
Well, and I think that this will be a pretty consequential election. Maybe we ought to make it 10 to 5.
How many did you get last time? 1 hour difference.
Well, I don't have it by hourly. I have the total one-stop turnout.
Yeah.
Let's see, for 2020, for the primary, we had 12,219. And then in 22, which was 8 to 4, and that was just a general, our turnout was 5,780. We had 2 sites in 22. We had 3 sites during the presidential primary. And in past presidential, we've ran with 3 one-stop sites for the primary. And we have 5 usually in November.
When you say, okay, I guess what we want to do is do we want to talk hours first and then sites, or will the sites, if we have 4 sites, will that affect the times in any way? Because
The times are totally,
okay,
we did budget for 4
okay, good,
sites.
good.
What's your?
I think
You said let's talk about sites or times. So which do you want to talk about?
I guess go ahead and kind of pick our times.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
with 4 sites, I think we did include one Sunday with that.
Yep.
Okay.
And it was 1 to 4. Is that correct?
In 2020, we
That was
did
the
not
first-
have, we did not have a Sunday, but in 22, we did have a Sunday and it was 1 to 4. And it was the first Sunday. So it was like Thursday, Friday, and then that Sunday.
So I feel like we've been talking about trying to have them push. I feel like in the past I've talked about it anyway, about liking, having them at the same time every time,
Mm-hmm.
so that people aren't confused about that, and that it's less confusing instead of having to have the middle weekend to have, instead of having it and then drop it and then having I know there's a staff element of liking that break, but it seems like for the voter, knowing that
Pickup does pick up usually.
We can get more if we,
on Monday the 19th, just to have it go all the way through to Saturday the 2nd.
Mhm. Okay.
gotcha. So instead of having the Sunday on the 18th, you're proposing that we have it on the 25th? Is
I
that
think
correct?
that makes sense too.
And the Saturday, the 12th, would it be the 10 to 3?
Would be
Up to
up
us.
to y'all.
Well,
You need the 17th.
Or if you
Yes,
want to,
17th.
like Noah said, if you want to keep it 8 to 3, and like the last Saturday. Is that what you were talking?
I was
If you
more
think
thinking
it's-
about doing it which Saturday you use, not what times you
Oh,
use.
okay.
But
Okay.
I mean, you've said before that not many people show up at 8 on a Saturday.
Yep.
So so their hours are really, the hours that are required are not the ideal hours based on turnout.
But we're not, are we required to have that 8 to?
On the second,
The
that's,
last Saturday, we are. It is 8 to 3.
Okay.
On the 24th.
On the 24th.
24th, so that's 8 a.m.
Wait,
No, on the second.
On the,
Oh,
that would be the
on
last,
right.
just the last Saturday. It has to be
Right.
8 to 3.
Oh,
It's
okay.
y'all's
Oh, it's already
decision.
listed. there.
Well, then,
Yeah.
so it would, again, keeping for consistency's sake, would it be better to have on the 17th, 10 to 5? Or 9 to 4? 10 to 5.
I think 10 is better than 9.
For workers and for everybody.
and we're talking about the 17th or the 23rd.
17.
So we're talking about having 3 Saturdays?
I guess, so are you thinking that we should have one stop on 15th, 16th, skip that Saturday and Sunday and go to the 19th?
Yeah, 19th through the 2nd, just straight through.
Okay.
So we'd have that 15th and 16th for all the early shoppers, and then just run it straight through.
So nothing on the 17th.
Nothing on the 17th or the 18th.
Okay.
How about it seems clear that early in the morning is not much of an advantage.
It's really not. I mean,
What if you ran it? What about running it to 5?
that
is
would be, yeah.
Does that
That would probably be better on the Saturday. People, get out. You do have early people, but not. Judson could actually.
I don't know if you noticed, I realized I was displaying it on the TV as I was doing it, but I was looking at my data. I've done hour by hour for all the November elections. I haven't done hour by hour for the primary necessarily for all of them. In 22, I can tell you that voting does not pick up until after 8:30 or 9, almost every single time. And in times that it has started earlier than that, there has been very negligible voting.
And do you have a feel for later in the
Later in the day, I wouldn't want to speculate too much.
Yeah.
From what I remember, it would be more helpful than opening earlier would be.
So
As opposed, and I know we can't change the 8 to 7:30, but boy, nobody comes after 6:45.
But
It's a shame.
that's the
State.
state mandated time.
10 to 5 on the 24th, right? So everybody's thinking.
Mhm.
Mhm,
And then the 25th is 1 to 4.
mhm,
Everybody good with that?
mhm.
All right, now to, Graham Recreation Center. What is your note in lieu of site?
That means in lieu of us opening this, having early voting here in our office, it has to be an in lieu of site that's within
So many
proximity.
miles.
Yes,
Okay.
so that would be the Graham Rec,
Mhm. Okay.
where we used to be, the county annex building
Mm.
right up on the corner, but we won't be able to use that anymore. So our in lieu of site for future will be the Graham Rec.
Is Elon South Gym where we had it in 2022?
Yes. Mhm.
I know we're short on places to have, but isn't there an issue with the proximity of the poll greeters to the people coming in from the parking lot there?
Well, when we had it there,
I mean, I'm trying to visualize because I haven't done that or been out to that site that much, but doesn't it have a parking lot and then it's kind of goes uphill?
there's a couple steps, here's the parking, so here's
Yeah.
the building.
Yeah.
And there's a few steps right
And then the
here.
pole
And the
greeters
pole
are
greeters were
right.
usually all down here
Yeah.
around where the people came up the steps.
Yeah, but they were at the very top of the steps.
And then there was, Judson, wasn't there a ramp also on that end? And I know some of them kind
I'm
of,
sorry, what site were you
At
talking about?
Elon?
But the Elon
It-
one, I'm just, I don't
There is a
know.
very long ramp.
at the end
Okay.
that they could, I know they, I was there several times
Uh-huh.
and people were
Okay.
on the ramp.
So I'm trying to visualize where the ramp is. I just, I just remember coming from the parking lot and I was like, wow, they're right there.
Oh, I see what you're saying, yeah.
And that wasn't for a presidential election.
Mhm.
Have we ever used that site for presidential?
No, that was our first time using
Yeah.
the site.
I'm just thinking,
Mhm.
you know, that might, I don't know if there's any way to move the poll greeters to the parking lot area.
If it's, they had
50 feet,
the
right?
50 feet,
Yeah, whatever it
anything,
is.
yeah. Like today, I was at one of the precincts and
Is that 50 feet from the
Literally,
door?
they were
50
in the
feet from the door?
of the, just right, ready to,
It's 50 feet from the door, even
It's
though you have
from
to
the
come as
entrance of
close
the voting
as I am to
enclosure.
Brian
Mhm.
to get to that door.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
I mean, even if you're having to come, like right up, I mean, right as close as I am to Brian to get to that door. Okay. All right.
It's 50 feet from the entrance of the voting enclosure.
Okay.
So anything outside of that.
Yep.
They can, without causing problems.
right. And
Elon Elementary wouldn't be an option for that one, I guess.
The schools wouldn't let us have early voting.
I mean, it took Kathy a while to get Elon to let us use that.
Mhm. And actually, the only way we got to use it for the primary is, we had to tell them, we wanted to be, consistent with the voters,
Yeah.
so we didn't want to change every other year, have it somewhere else. So we told them if we couldn't use it in March, then we wouldn't be able to use it in November. And they really wanted us there in November, so they changed and
Good.
rearranged.
I was worried about that.
Yeah.
I was actually was wondering what the story was
Yeah.
there.
okay. And then I know Mevin Arts and Community Center, that's a good location.
Mhm.
And then are we thinking Elmira or Canodal for our Burlington site?
Can you give us pros and cons there on Elmira and Kernodle? Besides Kernodle, don't
Well,
like us
yeah.
to be there.
Yeah. And I mean, it's just a little larger than Elmira, but
Elmira's got a nice parking lot.
it does have a nice parking lot. It's just really that would be y'all's decision, both of them. I kind of was thinking that if more people would probably utilize Elmira if we used them, because that was more in Burlington than going to Elon. And the same with Kernodle. So whichever one you chose to use, I feel like they would probably have a good turnout at that location.
And Elmira we talked about it before being like a mini site, like it's
Don't
like
use
when
much
we had concerns over budget that we kind of split the difference by using Elmira.
Right,
Would that
because
be
I think we can have maybe 3 check-ins there, where at Kernodle we can have 4 or 5.
What's your feeling on that for a primary, having 3 rather than 5?
It depends on who's on the ballot.
Yeah.
I mean, it really, you know, how
Three sites
strong.
versus 5 sites or?
Oh,
No,
no,
three-
check-in sites
Three
after
check-in.
sites.
Check-in sites. okay.
So at Elmira, you can only squeeze three check-in tables
Mhm.
when you walk in.
Yeah.
Whereas at Coronado, you can get 5.
Mhm.
But if this will be the first time we have 4 sites.
For it, right, and the
So-
turn, and you know, we really don't have, for a primary,
Yeah.
we don't have long lines like we do on the presidential.
Right, right.
And I mean, usually the lines come about Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at the very end.
Yeah.
And having 4 sites,
Mhm. That should,
whether it had 3 check-ins or, because it's pretty quick. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
quick process.
Well, if you were gonna have like a north, south, east and west site, it would seem like Elmira would be more of a north than
Mhm.
Coronado.
you can get people coming down from
Right.
Morton, from,
Right.
other
Granted,
places.
there's more people
Mhm.
probably around Coronado. I mean, the
Right.
northern part of our county is probably the least dense populated
Mhm.
part of the county by far.
Do, you want to vote on Elmira? It seems that to be Elmira or Coronado, or is it just general discussion? No, I think Elmira is a good site.
I'm fine with Elmira.
Yeah, I like
It's
Elmira.
fine.
All right, well, I think you got it, Ron.
Okay. I'm going to go, correct the resolution and have y'all sign that. And
Are you good with this?
I'm good with it. Yes, yes. Can I borrow this? Did you write the days and times down?
I did.
Okay, I'll bring it back to you. I'm just gonna go, I already have the resolution typed up. I just have to put in the hours for the weekend y'all chose. And then I'll get y'all to sign that.
Okay. Did you get your kids all squared away?
Yeah, Charles, during, we call it mold camp, when we had to scramble around to find a camp for him, during the mold delay, we signed him up for, a Studio One camp at the mall, the theater company. And it was like a half music, half comedy camp. And he just loved it. Like all of his weird energy, like has like a place to go, you know?
That's good.
So,
That's good.
So he was like, yeah, I want to do more. And we're like, well, they are, the Alamance Children's Theater is auditioning for the greatest Christmas pageant ever. And, Elizabeth is like, now, sometimes it takes a while to practice to get good at this. So, don't get, he's like, I'm getting it. So he got like one of the kids of the main couple so he's in almost every
Oh, he's
scene.
loving it.
So he's just, but gosh, it is like 4 to 5 nights a week
It's-
for 2.5
it's a commitment.
hours. Yeah.
Theater's
And they got me
commitment.
on Saturday mornings building sets. So suddenly we've become a drama family.
You're drama nerd. Family.
Yeah. So I'm, with that performance at Mold Camp, looking at him out there, he was just like, it was like the energy and he was just like,
Oh, that's it.
so on fire out there. So maybe he's found his thing.
That's good.
Yeah. So I don't mind encouraging, but it's so nice when you don't have to ask him to practice. When they just
Is he
wanna do
musical too?
yeah. He what he dropped out of was he had been in Young Musicians of Alamance program.
Yeah.
They recruit pretty hard from East Lawn and some other schools over there. But he got really stressed out by the performances. I don't know.
Was it more competition or?
No, YMA is like the touchiest, feeliest music program you could ever imagine. They've had several different directors I guess it's been around he was in one of the first years. So the philosophy's changed a little bit, but they're, they really want you to find your, musical soul or whatever. But I think it's just, music performance is kind of a math aptitude skill. Whereas, the theater part has a little more improv
Yeah.
just kind of,
Yeah.
and plus he's just, you got to sit there and play your instrument.
Yeah.
Whereas
yeah.
in
This
theater,
is
he's
social.
like
Yeah.
goofing off and
He's social too.
yeah,
isn't he?
yeah. Oh yeah, both kids are way more social than Elizabeth and I are. It's one reason why I had another one so that the other one would have somebody to be goofing off with. It's like, I'm old, I can't be
What's
that
the age
goofy.
difference?
They're 4.5 years apart. Yeah, 2nd grade and 6th grade. So yeah, I sent the older one off today. We had pulled Charlie, the 6th grader, out of middle school. There's a Mexican food restaurant right next to the middle school. So pulled him out and had lunch with his old brother and girlfriend Kathleen and his Henry, my oldest son. His mom joined us, so my mom joined us. So we had a real
Family.
family.
Where's he
yes,
go to middle school?
Western.
Are any of you guys Huey's fans over in Nevin? Huey's is closing.
I used to work at Huey's in Hillsborough back in the old days.
I hadn't had. There used to be one in like West Burlington, kind of that food that way down 70 shopping center.
Mm-hmm.
But I grew up like in the Grove Park area, and Hershey's was right there, so there was not a lot of Huey's going on.
No seafood there.
When I was working at Huey's in the 80s, Huey was there in the kitchen with me. I guess.
Oh, really?
Surely he's not around anymore, is he?
They're still the Huey family. They're selling it.
So
It's going to close. I think they said December 23rd.
is somebody buying the business and keeping the business, or are they?
I heard that a guy who has Mexican restaurants is buying it. So I guess Nevin will become the hot dog car wash Mexican restaurant. So,
Yeah, I finally ate it crafted it. I've been to one in Greensboro a lot.
That was pretty good. One of them.
Yeah.
Okay, just good. Read it out. So it's going to be the Graham Rex, Cornado.
Yeah,
Nope.
and it was half empty. I
No,
was
It's
like,
not Cornado.
it's so relaxed
Is
in
that
there.
good again?
And Bevan-
Just
one line.
Change one thing.
just one line. When you start reading something out loud, that's when you catch a mistake.
No, I'll accidentally correct it anyway and not even notice that I'm terrible about that.
You'll read right over it.
Yeah. My mind sees what it expects
You
to
say
see.
Huey's, what are you talking
Huey's
about?
restaurant that's on 70 going through Nevin. It's been there 40 years, something
See, when
like
I was around, it was Huey's Barbecue over there in Glen Raven.
that.
Right. Yeah, that's the same thing. Same people.
It's the same
And then
family.
Huey's Seafood out on 70.
That's
out
the
where
one that's
Church Motor
closed.
Corps- No, this was right outside
Oh, okay.
Church, right on Church Street. Then you had Huey's Steakhouse, which was at Grove Park Church.
Man, I wish we had a Huey's Steakhouse and a
And you had
Huey's.
seafood, Huey's Seafood was, Huey's Seafood was out there right at Church Street, Church Motor Corps, right there at Bone Road.
Yeah.
And then Huey's Barbecue was there in Glen Raven, and then the steakhouse was at Grove Park Church. And when some people say Huey's, I'm saying, what are you talking about? Because the old man, he died way back, and the son picked it up.
Hey,
So that's who you're saying it is, the son?
The one in Metvin's the same as the barbecue place that was in Glen Raven.
Okay. Well, he's still alive?
That's for your
Because is that the one you said was
Yeah.
it?
I guess so. Surely it's the same.
Paul Hewitt,
It's the
And
same
this is
family
the,
as all I know.
Paul Hewitt.
red envelope with
This
the
would have been in
It's like
85.
barbecue, and then they have like hot dogs and
They
hamburgers.
do, okay.
I made hush puppies and microwaved the flounder.
I'm telling you,
The only thing about yourself.
they had good oysters.
They are.
shrimp, all that
We're
kind
waiting for them to.
How you doing?
Before it closes.
Oh my goodness, hey,
Hey.
we're talking about restaurants while we're waiting. We're doing reviews.
Do a restaurant review.
Yeah. More people tune in for that.
Be interesting.
We're trying to get our
the stuff
our
that
business-
matters.
For your viewing pleasure,
Uh-huh.
we will now review the restaurants in Mebane. We'll move over to Graham.
I was gonna ask Dawn, she wanted me to do a live Facebook feed, so if y'all wanna get it together to the top 10 before then.
Have y'all gone to the Burmese restaurant?